we are going to talk about today is the mental conducts rather than the physical conducts. The first of which is the example, the analogy of the three pots. A pot that is turned upside down, a pot that has a hole in it, and then a pot that has poison in it. So the first thing is the pot being put upside down. So if you have let's say a cup, if you have a cup and the cup is put upside down, then you cannot put anything into the cup because it's upside down. The entrance is upside down. So similarly, if your the physical extension of your attention, which is your ears, so if your ears are not listening to the Dharma talk, in other words, as I said before, if you are doing the Dharma talk, you are busy doing other things. If you're talking with other people, if you're eating or this kind of thing, then the province of your ears, your oral canal, the ability to hear is actually diminished. You will not be able to listen. You will not be able to grasp what is being taught. So if you cannot hear well what is being taught, for example, if you're listening to music during the Dharma talk, if you're talking with your friends during the Dharma talk or things like that, physically you are sort of like physically not there. In such cases, you will be missing the teachings. You will not be able to hear. You will be not able to grasp the words spoken by the teacher. In which case, there will be nothing for your mind to pay attention towards. And so therefore, this is in regards to being distracted during the Dharma talks. And then physical distraction, like chanting the mantra and this kind of thing. Then we have the second one, which is the pot with a hole. So if the pot has a hole in it, then even though it can capture the essence, it can capture all the good things, but the good things will not stay in there. The drinks will not stay in the cup because it will all drip. So therefore, this is like if your mind is not just physically but also your mentally, if your mind is physically you are sitting very upright, you're not chanting any mantra, you're not talking with your friends or anything, you're sitting very upright and very properly, but your mind is actually thinking about other things like, okay, what shall I cook for lunch, what shall I do about this and that things, planning and doing all this kind of thing, then your mind is not physically, your mind is not there. In which case, your mind is not there to witness the talks, the teachings being made by the teacher. And so for that reason, the mind is not able to grasp or to hold anything that was being taught. So therefore, you missed all the teachings. During the time of the teaching, during the time of the teaching session, you feel like you agree with everything, you know everything. You are going, you are nodding your head like this with all the teachings. But by the end of the teaching, you have nothing to carry home. So this happens when your mind is distracted. And the third thing is a pot or a cup with poison. So this cup doesn't have a hole in it. It is not upside down. So it can capture the content. It can capture the drinks. It can also hold the drinks properly. But the problem with that last pot is it has poison in it. So if you drink it, instead of nourishing yourself, your body, it will become the end of you. So similarly, you are listening intently. You are listening physically and mentally. You are listening intently to the teachings. But the reason why you are listening to the Dharma teaching is because after receiving this and that high teaching, this and that secret teachings, I'm going to, give this teaching, basically sell this teaching to some rich people who I guess, I don't know, like you sell that to you are going to teach to many people and make lots of money or become famous or whatever, powerful. So if you have that kind of intention, then it become a poison, because Dharma is supposed to Dharma is medicine for the mind, for the self. It is to nurture yourself, but instead of nurturing you, it actually became the end of you. It become it what we call medicine being turned into a poison. Instead of helping you, it's actually bringing you down. So therefore, these three flows or faults, what we call in the Dharma term, we call it the three faults of the pot. So these three faults of the pot should be avoided at all cost. So if these are the not to do things, then what are the to do things? Comes the next question. So for which the Indian sage Padamba Sangye said, listening to the teachings. So listening, right? So usually there's the three steps of practice: listening or learning, then contemplating, and then meditating. So learn or listen to the teachings like a deer listening to music. So when you are listening to teachings, you should be so entranced by the Dharma, just like a deer is entranced by the music. So you should listen to the teachings physically, very carefully, and then contemplate on the meaning of the teaching without losing any attention. Just like so the second line goes, contemplate them like a northern nomad shearing sheep. So when the nomads are shearing their sheep, they pay total attention to it and they do nothing else, just keep doing that. They keep doing it for hours and hours. So similarly, when we contemplate, follow suit. And while doing the application of what you have just heard and contemplated upon, you should be like a dumb person savoring food. A dumb person. So when a dumb person is eating food, a dumb person actually cannot explain anything in general. If you ask any question, proper answer. And especially when the dumb person is eating their meal, if you ask them any questions, of course they will not reply. They don't know how to reply, and they will not reply. They will just be totally. They will be totally absorbed in the act of eating, and that's all they are. So similarly, when you are practicing in the form of meditation or in other application, in real life application, it should be something like a dumb person savoring food. I'm sorry. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of the same thing. Meditate on them like a dumb person savoring food. Practice them like a hungry yak eating grass. So when you are a hungry yak or a hungry person, when they are eating, no one can stop them. No one can just interfere with their eating. If you talk to them, they might talk back. They might answer to your question while food being filled in the mouth. So such is their eagerness to keep on eating. Similarly, one should practice in such way. And due to those causes, then the end or the result will be such like the sun coming out from behind the clouds. So when the sun is hidden under the clouds, it seems dark. When it's cloudy, when the clouds are filled in the sky, it is seemingly dark. But when the sun suddenly or at last comes out from the cloud, then everything will be so bright. So similarly, once you practice, once you're listening, once you contemplate, once you meditate and put into application your practices in such and such way, then the result will be also something like sun coming out of the clouds, super bright. So in addition to that, one thing I want to tell you is in the first line says, listen to the Dharma teaching like listening to a deer listening to the music. So this is actually in relation to something called, if you have seen any Tibetan gombas, Tibetan monasteries or temples in general, maybe monasteries, not all the temples, but most of the gombas or monasteries have on the top of the monastery, they always have the Dharma chakra, the wheel of the Dharma, and that Dharma chakra is surrounded by two deers, one male deer and a female deer. So the deer are very attentively looking at and intently looking at the Dharma chakra, the wheel of the Dharma. So wheel of the Dharma, of course, is not just any wheel. It's a symbol for the teaching of the Dharma. And then the deers are us, the practitioners, the listeners, the audience, the students. So what it signifies is this is a temple in the sense of a house. So this is a house where contemplation of the teaching of the Buddha is highly regarded. The main job that we do here, like in today's time, when we go to the city, there are lots of shops, and each shop has a hoarding. Each shop has a board, saying, okay, this is a shop for apple, this is a shop for pizza, this is a shop for this and that. So each shop has a label. Similarly, the monasteries have that label atop. Tibetan monasteries have that label atop, on top of the monastery, saying this is a place where contemplation of teaching of the Buddha is regarded very highly.